Okay, what's up? This is Jerseys to Crowns. It's a new movement, so look out for some content coming soon.
Yeah, I'm in my own lane. 4-3 reppin', yeah, my gon' bang. It's talking, but they ain't speaking on my name. I'ma make this money, I'm about to free the gang, yeah. On my beer on the back, these call me Stephen Curry. Gotta make this money, gotta make it in a hurry. Do it for the gang, so my don't have to worry, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna just introduce the three of us, get to know who's kind of behind Jerseys and Crowns. We're gonna start with our young man here, Avery.
I'm Avery Hutcheson, university basketball player at University of Lethbridge, and I met Ian and Lance 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Yeah, probably four now.
Or actually, yeah, 5.
Maybe 5.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Yeah, and through training, we just got this bond, and
I think
great.
2 years ago, like
No, like
2
6,
years.
like 5, 6 years.
COVID's been 2 years.
Honestly, want to say, so when did we start like all that team training stuff?
Well,
That was like 2016.
The first jam practice thing I came to, I was like,
Yeah, that was
15,
2016.
I'm 22 now. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, time flies, man. And really, like in that 7 years, like we've seen like such a crazy development of your story, right? Because like in high school, you were never thought of as being like no one was like Avery's a guaranteed U sport player.
No, like in high school, the coach I had was really good. He was like my mentor. But like
What's his name?
Alex Steele.
Alex Steele's the man.
That's my guy. I love that man. But like me and him, he was like kind of the only person that was telling me I could play U sport, and but we had like a kind of a delusion of like recruiting, and so we just thought U sport's gonna come knocking on my door if I play, if I hooped, and like the best offer I got was Red Deer College, and like it was like that was the only one I had. It was like you're gonna red shirt, and it's no matter how many like times like went off, it was like that's not happening. Like it was just tough, but.
Well, that's like so typical that like athletes think like if I just do this, everyone's gonna know about it.
I actually did. I had that delusion that I was if I went and dropped 25 plus in a game, that game was gonna be the one that like there's potentially a coach. I was in that fairy tale that there's a coach in the stands, and that's what's gonna happen. But
even if there was a coach there and you dropped 60,
and
what is that coach gonna realistically say? Hey, let's stay in contact. What are your grades like?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, let's take it from there.
Yeah, it's not this like fairy tale like bullshit that happens like overnight. Like it's not getting recruiting is not going viral on social media.
No, yeah, 100%. But like through the years, met Adam Huffman, and he helped me get to university, and
Another goat.
He is a goat. He is a goat. He was the first person to be like, yeah, no, it's happening for sure, and like certified show me. You guys too helped along the way 100%. And
We were in the background.
not really. Like I came here every day, and like making the decision, it was like I was talking to you about it for like a year. I swear, that entire prep year, I would be like, yeah, man, what the hell do I do? But
Yeah. But we were just like, at that time, like, honestly, like, we were just trying to support you and encourage you. Like, that was our role. Like, our role was never like, well, we're going to take over recruiting. And that's it. Like, we help a lot of athletes with recruiting, but it's not because we're at the forefront. We're just helping them kind of like make realistic ideas and realistic goals on where they should be and is it a good fit? Like, Adam was the guy.
yeah. And
It's just like navigating that world. It's like it's a little trickier than people think, right?
yeah.
And a lot of times it doesn't really have much to do with the actual sport.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the other things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
intangibles. No, and like, so like, what made you initially like fall in love with basketball?
So growing up, I was always an athlete. I ski raced until I was 15, and that was my life. My dad was a ski racer, and basically, I was told from the jump, I'm going to be a skier, and I'm going to follow in his footsteps. I'm going to be a professional skier. That's what I'm doing, and so that was my life. And my parents had some struggles, and they were getting divorced, And so I didn't really know, you know, who to pick, my dad or my mom. And so I kind of like, you know, needed to separate myself from them, and I couldn't go ski, you know, that wasn't my outlet because that was my dad's thing. Yeah. And my mom was a swimmer, so you know, that's weird. I wasn't gonna go swim. But so I just like picked up a basketball. I was at Weber Academy, you know, private school league, just the weirdest league ever, but picked up a basketball there, and I started playing it, and I kind of learned that, you know, that's an outlet. Like I could go to the gym for 4 hours straight, you know, I'd finish school at 4:30 and I would be there till closing, like 9:30, 10, and I wouldn't have to go home, you know, it was my outlet for.
Well, and basketball is a very different community than any other sport.
100%.
It's way more vocal, and it's way more, it's crazy to explain. Like football has this like intensity and like competitive nature, and then basketball has like so much more of like a social dynamic.
Well, there's no drop in football, right?
No, and it's like
basketball. You can just go hoop, like.
Yeah, and you're it's like a family environment, you know, like I had like, you know, problems with my family, and like I got that escape by, you know, going to the local rec and finding my like rec family, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And then it didn't hurt that you know came in contact with such a good coach like Alex Steele. Like he's a great coach, great mentor, great human, and I'm sure that was like a, you know, became like a, you know, father figure, not being
no,
a father.
100%. Like Alex, he changed my life. He made me look at basketball from like the grinding mentality. That's something he always says, like life's a grind, but he's like, and if you want to get somewhere, you're just gonna have to put your head down and fucking work. And it's actually crazy. Alex is a lawyer, and he was, you know, going to work at 7:30 every morning. Me and Alex from grade 8 to grade 12 would go to Westside at 5:30, 6 in the morning. And like, and like I would text him on a weekend, and he would be at the office 2 a.m. at the office, and I'd be like, yo, like, can we get it in tomorrow? And he'd be like, sure. Like he just made time for me, took me under his wing, and like he was a really good player. He played pro.
Oh yeah.
And he played at U of A as well, and like he just learned, like he's kind of got that military mindset like you guys, like, you know, like he's kind of like
militant.
Just fucking do it, like just fucking do it, guy. Like he's that. Like,
find a way.
Yeah,
Just do it. Just overcome.
Yeah, and so he kind of took me. He 100% took me under his wing, and he was the first person to really be like, okay, like if you put in the work, you'll be able to do something with it. You know what I mean? Like at first it was just me. It was just my choice to just. I fell in love with the rec lifestyle, going to 7-Eleven, coming back and hooping, and that was like my life. Yeah. And I quit ski racing and was like, okay, I'm going all in on basketball. But like, and like, don't get me wrong, the rec people helped. You know, like I had people like Aiden, Brody, these guys were playing Genesis. They were like, get out of private school league, because nobody's, you know, like they basically said like nobody's gonna go recruit those games. Like it's a whole different level. Like in grade 9, I dropped 30 points on like.
But nobody recruits at Manning. Like what?
No, 100%. But it's
just kind of the narrative behind.
No, but it's the league. Like it's a competition. Like if I were to, you know, reach out and send, I'm in that league, it's different than if I'm in private school. It's like not even 1A. It's like not ranked like that. It's just private school.
None of that shit fucking matters. If you are an athlete, regardless of what level you are, if you're doing the right things, you can transition, because you can't think of like, oh, I'm playing like 1A basketball at this school. Well, you know, the next province over, someone's like, yeah, that's whack.
No, I completely agree. Like it doesn't matter, but for my journey, it did help me to get out of that league and to get into, you know, Manning. Like it's like I'm at private school, spoon fed, everyone, like silver spoon, everyone there. You know what I mean? Like to go to Manning.
You in Philly.
Philly was like literally. I remember a tournament.
Phil was at Weber?
No,
same upbringing.
He was at Calgary Christian. Yeah. And I played in that tournament I was talking about when I was in grade 9. I played a senior tournament. Philly was the GOAT. Like Philly was killing.
Philly, because he didn't go to public school until grade 12.
Yeah, he went to.
I think you did. I thought you said it was
might have been grade 11.
It was like grade 11 or grade 12.
Oh, okay.
I think it was grade 12. I could be wrong. But I just remember like Philly showing up at Western when I was coaching at Western, showing up and being like, where did this kid come from? You're like, oh, he's at private school. And he was dirty. But like
still is
dirty. But it was like, you could tell that he came from private school.
Well, yeah, like when I first came to when I, like, you know, I have all these guys at rec telling me, play Genesis, you know, go to this thing, you know, go to Manning, like that's where you gotta be. but I had
get
this
in the
private
flow.
school. I had this private school like confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went in there like thinking like, yo, I swear to God, first day of school, pull up with the balls like backpack on, and everyone at Manny's like, who the hell does this kid think he is? You know what I mean? Like, is this like, you know, the next big thing? No, like I'm like a 5'6" white guy.
Curly haired, big smile.
Yo, at the time, I didn't even have my, like, I had like a slick, like a comb over it, and I would gel my hair not to be curly, because I didn't even know, like, I was just different, like, back then,
I just remember the first day you came in the gym, and just like eyes wide shut, like your eyes were so big, but like you had no idea what was going on. Like you were like, I could smell the intimidation on you.
This gym was like the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Private school, like you're not even doing that. You're playing badminton and then playing like, and then you're playing like 21 with your friends, and that's your training. You know, like, and then I show up here, it's like, you know, it's got the sick walls. I've never been in this environment like this. It was insane for me. But,
oh yeah, we killed you guys that day. I remember that.
Well, of course, you kill everyone every time. But I mean, but what I mean is, like, I remember that first time you guys were on our ass. I remember like kids were like, I remember Lance was like, you know, the kids were like, I'm a puke, like I can't do this rep, and Lance like, so puke guy, like what are you talking about? Ian's like puke and then do your fucking rep guy, like you're doing it, like you know, like
oh man, like puke and rally, man, get it out, get back.
And for me, this was like a wake up.
This guy's just like,
I was like,
that message doesn't change. Like, you know, we talk to a 13-year-old or a 33-year-old, like that message doesn't change, and it's not because, like, we were talking about this the other day with some athletes. It's like, it's not because we're dicks. Like, it's not because we're assholes. Like, it's not because we're just like, we want to see you in pain, but we want to see you overcome things. And we're not going to dilute what's happening because you're soft. Because if you come in here with like, man, we have people come in here and they're so intimidated, they come in with a parachute pack. They come in with a preloaded excuse. So I have to go here today. And it's like, I don't care. Get your work. Like,
man,
no misses, only makeups.
Because we've had like full circle stuff. We've had parents complain about us like mistreating their kid, and then you fast forward 6 months later, and they're thanking us for like how different their kid is and how they're like they've changed and like oh my god, like almost in tears.
Like,
right?
I think like for like me, if I was gonna talk about how lucky I was in my journey to have, you know, people like you guys that are like, a lot of people get lost in the system, right? And like we've talked about it before, but like
Autopilot.
Yeah, like people, and they're just like doing what they're told. They don't have coaches, they don't have mentors. Like for me, it's like, you guys are amazing. You guys like are more than just sport, you know? You're more than just working out, more than just basketball. Adam's the same way, Alex is the same way. That, you know, you guys all kind of like
relationship builders.
Yeah, Eddie helped me along the way. You know, like I was just lucky and fortunate enough to be on the good end of the system. You know what I mean? And I couldn't be more grateful for like you guys and the
well, and you were really receptive to it. Like that's the difference, right? A lot of kids are getting the same message, but they're not ready.
But and part of that too is because of your athletic endeavors prior to basketball. Because you had a dad that was a high level athlete, a mom that was a high level athlete, and then you had already learned. They had laid the groundworks for what it was, the message that we were sending. So it wasn't the first time you ever heard it.
No, 100%. Like I grew up in a family of athletes, so like the messages and the people of like being around athletes just came easy to me.
Yeah.
But like my dad, like even to this day, is just like him being at a high level athlete. Like I talk to him to this day to say like, how do I get past this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
Because like, it doesn't matter the sport you played. Like if he's a ski racer, he can go and compete with fucking anyone. Like even if basketball, you know, you can't, ski racing and basketball, no correlation.
Yeah.
But like the mentality, the
He has
competitiveness.
that athletic baseline, all that stuff.
Yeah, and so like his mind, like I pick his mind to try to be better because like he knows what it takes to win or to get somewhere in sport, right? And I feel like there is a correlation with.
That's a great segue. Like, do you find that like when you made the decision that you were gonna move to basketball, like was there pushback? Was there like, no, like we have you on a path, this is the journey, or like
From
your family?
Yeah, from my family, 100%. So I'm the youngest. My brother was a ski racer too. So growing up, it was a very competitive environment. Like so, he's and how ski racing works is like every 2 years, you basically get like you go up a year, and the two above you stays a year. So you compete like 2 years up every year, like in a weird way. It's a weird system, but so Parker and me were like rivals, kind of, because that's my brother, and he was pushing me, and then he quit at 14. So I was like, okay, well, now I don't have my brother push me. Like we're like, it's one of my best friends, right? So it's like I don't have him to push me anymore, and that broke my dad's heart. Because my dad's like, for me, I want a son that's gonna play basketball, because like
there's the oldest too, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and it's weird for me because like I have a son, but I'm not like, oh, he has to play basketball. I'm not like, oh, he must be doing this. Like, if he ever decides to play basketball, I'll encourage him. Yeah. If he decides to do music, I'll encourage him.
Yeah.
However, I'm always going to try to instill the lessons I learned in him through sports. But a big part of it too is like, I want my son to learn all the lessons that I learned. I do not want him to learn them the way I learned them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, right? Like, we're from completely different worlds, completely different upbringings, and I'm not going to say like, I learned it this way, so that's how you have to learn it. I just want to, support and encourage, and whatever he wants to do is what he does.
Yeah, no, like that's like kind of how my dad is. My dad really did just want to see me succeed, and I've talked about it with him, at great lengths. But what he said was, he was like, as a father, I want to put you on the right path for success, right? Like you're saying. He said the barriers to entry to skiing was, there's politics in skiing. It's kind of like hockey in a way. There's like hella politics.
So much money, right?
Yeah, there's a ton of money, right? And so basically what he was saying is, he's like, not every kid can go ski race. And I've got, I was a great skier. I've got the connections. I'm, putting the work in with you. I'm showing you that. And then you said you're gonna quit and go play basketball where anyone can pick up a basketball, right? So he was just kind of like, I don't know if my son's gonna go succeed, but like.
And you were 5'6", curly hair, smile.
I was not.
Yeah, because your dad always had like the big picture, right? He's always pushing you guys to be like elite and like,
But no, I was grateful. Like as soon as I said, I'm very passionate about basketball. My dad said, all right, well then we're gonna do this thing. Like we're gonna do it to the best.
And that's hard. Like, not a lot of kids have the ability to have that kind of an open dialogue with their parents where they can say what it is that they actually want to do. Yeah. Did you ever have that conversation with your family?
Well, it got to a point where I had to, but like my whole life, no, it's like, you live in this house, this is what you do, like, it's kind of a respect thing, right?
Yeah. Like for you to just go to university, you had to rebel.
Like there's a lot of like, so I know exactly, obviously it's different spectrums, but for me, it's more so like that old school mentality where like you just do what your parents tell you to do, period. There's 100%. No like,
if my
your opinion doesn't matter.
I'll be ski racing today. I swear to God. Like I was lucky that my brother was like this rebel. He's an older rebel child. So like for me, it was
opened the door.
It 100% opened the door. I swear to God, if he didn't quit, I still would be skiing. I was like kind of like just like this is what we're told to do.
If Lance didn't have that fire, he'd be the deacon at the church right now.
Yeah, like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't my path, right? Like I just wanted to play sports, but like your parents just kind of have this, and in their mind they're like, oh, like we have your best intentions, but they don't realize like at the end of the day you have to live that life. And I tell kids nowadays too, like I'm like, don't disrespect your parents. As long as you live in their home, for the most part, you gotta follow their rules. Yeah. But if what you're trying to do in life is positive, it's not something negative, but it's just not what they want, you have to do it because then you're gonna resent them later. It's gonna affect your relationship down the road.
And how many times have we talked about like, parents have the best intentions, but it ends in a bad result because if you try to lift your child over adversity and drop them at the finish line of success, they're gonna fumble the bag because they're not gonna have learned all the lessons along the way. Like you can't just put them in that position.
Yeah, and be like, okay, this is what you're doing, right? Like, and then, you're basically just on autopilot, right?
Yeah, 100%. But I don't know. I was really lucky. Like my dad, there was like we just said, that pushback with my brother. But for me to do it, he was just scared that like we're athletes. We talked about it. We talked about it in the last one, but like like you want to be around athletes, you want to be with athletes. And my dad was like, is my son not going to be an athlete, you know? Because he knows the lessons that he's learned with sport. So he was like my brother quit skiing and he was like, I'm a computer gamer. And my dad was like, shit, he's not going to learn lessons that he will in sport from, you know, sitting at his computer.
Like your brother saying that to your dad was like, he's speaking Japanese, like he's like, it's not a world that he ever had a part of.
No,
so it's just terrifying because it's
Yeah, and they have like a blueprint in their mind, right?
Yeah.
Of how you like, well man, even like the job I do right now, it took my dad like 3 years to like understand that like people pay. He's like, so you get paid? Like shocked, like, so people, like even the other day he was here and he's just like, there's a kid, came here, went to the track to go train. He's like, so that kid pays you to train him? I'm like, yeah, man. and he's just like, wow, like, they just don't get it, right? It's like a different time. So I can see, I've never met your dad, but obviously, like, from what I heard, like, he's a pretty, like, you know, old school structure. Like, so you do, so for your brother to be like, I want to be a gamer, they're just like,
my brother,
or like a computer guy.
Also a complete rebel. He like got in, he was like, for a private school, like we grew up like in a good family, like very fortunate. My brother was like, whatever I can do to just stir the pot, I'm gonna stir the pot. Like I'm not kidding. He was like, you know, I'm gonna go deal drugs.
I'm gonna burn down the white.
My dad's giving him allowance. Dad's giving him allowance, and he's like, well, I need more. And then so I'm gonna deal drugs. My dad's like, what? Like I'm burning down the castle, but.
No, but you had to have had like your parents had to have been on the right track and like taught you so. Like we've talked about it so many times. Like if you don't know Avery and like know the backstory, you would just think he's just like a regular kid. Like you would think because you're so respectful and humble and nice and you know great manners and like but you get after it as an athlete. If you didn't know like the financial and the resources and all those things, you'd be like, what?
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, like very adaptable, like all that stuff, right? Because we've said like we've had a lot of kids from like very different like economic standing, and from the most part, like not to judge everyone, but like usually kids in our program that have all their financial barriers like removed, like they're like a fish out of water, right? Like they're not very adaptable. They're usually not the most resilient. Like there's always like mommy or daddy in the background. Like you're never just dealing with them. You're always dealing with like their security blanket.
Like a mom in the background of the workout, like watching every step. Like don't you think they've had enough? No, they haven't. Yeah. We'll tell you when they've had enough.
And there's always like that like mama bear, papa bear. So it's like, like to meet you, like it's a very different, and we have other kids who are like pretty well off, like not even well off, but like obviously their families are
supported.
Like very well supported, that are like really like grounded, well rounded, all that stuff. But on average, it's not the case, right? Like, so man, it was just kind of refreshing.
We see it from both ends though. Like we see, you know, young kids with like zero support, zero resources, but the way they talk and the way they move and the things that they expect, it's like they expect the like A-class, premium standard, everything. And that's because they have like, they don't get the support from the household, but they might get it from their high school coach or their club coach or their guidance counselor. Like there's someone else filling that gap. And it's almost like an enabling.
But like my dad, once, like I said, like me and my dad have a really good relationship, and I look up to him like he's a role model, like the guy, you know, like I want to follow in his footsteps and be, you know, half the man he is now, I'll be happy with, you know. But he coming from like a fortunate family, we would travel a lot, and he would show me, you know, we would go to Haiti, and he would be like, like you're lucky to have what you have, you know, and you need to be grateful. You need to like see each side of it. And like I built houses in Jamaica, built houses in Haiti, in Africa, and like it's because my dad's like, you know, what you have, you're lucky to have, and you need to be grateful for it. And you're gonna have to work just the same as the next guy. You know, there's no difference between you know me and you know someone else. Like if there's a
that's a big fear of parents that have like a lot of resources, is that if they just hand it to their kids, that it's all gonna go for naught, like it's gonna be wasted, right? Like if you have bad habits and bad financial head on your shoulders, regardless of how much money you have or when you get it, you're still gonna lose it.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, like that, and that's what you see. Like people win the lottery and then they're broke 5 years later. It's because they had bad habits.
Yeah, and I don't know, like for me, basketball was just like I was just grateful to be around guys that I liked, friends that I liked, and I just like, I never really saw those, you know, barriers between me and the next guy, but if I did, I'm just like, there's no difference, you know, like I never saw it like that,
Well, and that support, like that came at the right time, like it came at a time, and it's crazy, like, there's a saying, like in the army puts you where you need to be. Like whether you wanted to go to that unit or you wanted to do that job, somehow through it all, it becomes the best part of your career. And like, and that's the same with athletics. It's like the universe just kind of like puts you where you need to be. And at that time, it's like you needed a community, and you needed support, and you needed mentors. And you found it in basketball.
100%. And another thing about basketball that is just so beautiful is like we're just saying, you know, it doesn't matter who steps on the court. It could be, you know, a guy that's trapping, doing his thing out on the streets.
Level playing field.
Yeah, or it can be like some rich white kid or, you know, some nerdy Asian guy. You step on the court and like, you guys are all the same, and you know, if you're putting in that work, no matter what, it's all the same, you know?
Yeah, basketball's a very inclusive sport, right?
It's crazy.
Because like it's all the time, like you'll judge a book by its cover, right? You'll see a guy roll up to go hoop, you're like, man, look at this guy's good. He's just putting buckets on guys, right? And then you go talk to him after, and you're like, he's just a normal guy, right?
And that's why Ira kills everybody.
Oh yeah.
Okotoks team.
Oh yeah.
He brings in this like Okotoks team, nobody's over 6'2",
Yeah.
and they're just like pump faking and reverse passing and just like out running and gunning, and they're blowing out teams, like inner city teams by 50.
Well, the craziest thing I can say that the best part about basketball, even like in our city that I love to see, because when we were growing up, there wasn't really like an overlap. Like if you played ball in the Northeast, you kind of just stayed in the Northeast. If you're South, whatever. So when I left Calgary and came back, and I seen that like McNally, Lacombe, Pearson were all D1 teams. They're playing Western, they're playing Manning. All you guys are boys.
Yeah.
Like a guy from the Northeast was a kid from like Springbank, and they're homies. And that's cool, right? It just brought everyone together. It's like organic,
it's
right? So, and it's like to see like Scarlett playing Lacombe in Lacombe's gym. Like we never saw that growing up.
Never.
Like that just didn't happen, right? So it's like it's cool, man. I think and your crew, like how diverse is your circle of friends just because of ball?
No, it's actually
like you never play ball. Like what would your friend circle look like right now?
Like the thing, like basketball has taught me so many lessons, like crazy lessons that like people still don't understand. It's like society doesn't even understand, right? Like my friends probably would have been, if I ski raced, you know, white guys. They're all from the hills, you know, entitled, and like
financial investors.
But you know, and like my friends now are like my best friends half Venezuelan, and then like I've got probably like 40 black friends that are just my dogs, you know, and then I got like Asian nerdy friends, you know, then you know the common Mark Martin, but I mean like that's my guy, but I mean like
Jody Hyrola?
like people like Mark too, and myself, like we always talk about it, like we could have gone one route, but like we learned so much by playing basketball, being on a team with all these guys, you know, like being brothers with all these guys. Like I learned lessons of like, you know, I've seen like my best friend, like I went on a tournament and like my best friend, like one of my teammates, Charlie, got called the N-word, and I'm like, that's like my best friend, you know, like like I've learned about, you know, the struggles of racism, and like I've learned about all that, and I wouldn't have if basketball wasn't in my life, you know, like, or financial struggles. I've learned about so much through basketball, and like realistically, it's like it's insane that it even happened that way.
Well, and your family is like, not only have you learned about it, but you guys have become active participants in like changing it. Like how many athletes has your family really helped?
Like that's like our favorite thing to do. That's my favorite thing to do. But
and like some of it's fine. Some of it's like, oh, your family would just bring, you know, Gatorade and oranges to the games, or you know, some of it was like you pay for kids to go to tournaments or their fees or whatever. Right. Just being around you and your family and your support is like so encouraging for other people.
And honestly, like, I think it was, like, even for my family, like, I think basketball and the community of basketball, like, taught them a more, like, communal, like, thing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
because your dad really, like, he took it on.
yeah, 100%.
He took it on, like, he was like, not as a burden, but he took it on as like, I'm gonna help out in any way I can. And like, and that's why I think, like, and I say it, like, you have developed into such a good young man because of the learnings that you had from your dad and your mom and your brother and all those things. And like, and it's because of basketball and athletics, like, you are inclusive friends, you're so level-headed, all those things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that's Avery Hutcheson. So remember, you're gonna get to know me and Ian in the next episode. So make sure you tune into that. Okay, that's the episode. Thanks for watching, and remember, follow us on all our social medias for more stuff coming up.
Yeah, I'm in my own lane. 4-3 reppin', yeah, my gon' bang. It's talking, but they ain't speaking on my name. I'ma make this money, I'm about to feed the gang, yeah. On my 3 on the back, these call me Stephen Curry. Gotta make this money, gotta make it in a hurry. Do it for the gang, so my don't have to worry, yeah.